hungry? Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
This has like a mom's basement kind of feel.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
Still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
Mom's Basement with Joe Frank. That is quite possibly the dumbest thing I think you've ever said. And Corey Diab.
I can't believe I take part in this show.
Away we go, Mom's Basement, Season 2, Episode 3, underway here. As usual, I'm your host, Joe, on Twitter at Joe_Frank01. Corey to my right on Twitter at Corey El Diablo. The show on Twitter at Mom's Basement 18. Good to be back. We've got a lot to discuss because, for one thing, Super Bears, Super
Bowl. I was excited.
I know, I was waiting for you to get excited.
I'm hyped.
A lot, especially today in baseball, a lot kind of just like dropped out of nowhere. Speculation, it's hot stove season officially, free agency, winter meetings, GM meetings, all coming up. The NBA is a debacle, but we're going to talk about the Bulls for like 2 minutes. But we've got a lot in NFL, specifically the Bears, and then the Cubs and the White Sox. Both sneaky moves so far this offseason.
Sneaky move?
Sneaky. Well, I mean, I guess putting Bryce Harper's goddamn name up in the United Center, not sneaky, but...
Yeah, it's a future White Sox right there.
Ooh, we're gonna dissect that in a little bit, because I've got some strong thoughts.
I know you do.
Strong thoughts on that, but...
They come from your triggers.
We gotta start with the positives, and that's the Bears. 5-3. The Chicago Bears, as of November 9th, 2018, sit in first place in the NFC North.
Break the fourth wall.
Yeah, we always do.
All right, fair enough.
And that is something I didn't think I would say this year. I had, hopes that the Bears would be better, but to be in first place on November 9th, going into Week 10 here at 5-3, that's a stellar start to the first half of the season.
Right, so we thought they could maybe make a wild card run if things, kind of fell the right way, but, Green Bay just kind of fell off the face of the earth right now, and Minnesota started out pretty poorly, so... it's been a pretty expected run for the Bears, I think, as far as just individual players, how well they've been playing. Obviously we didn't factor in Khalil Mack immediately, but, 5-3 first place, and we were talking about it before the show, they have like a plus 80 point differential, which is crazy. I think it's like the third best in the NFL, which, point differential tells you how much you're kicking the shit out of teams. So.
Yeah, I actually had that written down. It's one of my pros for the Bears for the first half. They're plus 82.
Yeah.
So list of teams in the NFC that have scored more points than the Bears. Rams, Panthers, Saints, and it stops there.
Okay.
And you just watch the Panthers, and the Panthers have actually played one more game than the Bears.
Right. Because
they played last night on Thursday Night Football and got absolutely obliterated by the Steelers. So technically, if you want to factor in expected points for the Bears, it's probably just the Rams and the Saints.
Yeah, I agree.
Who we just saw play last week in a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
Saints end up taking the win, but the Bears look phenomenal, period. And I'm going to get into my pros and cons here. We're going to start with my pros. 1, Mitch having the best season for a Bears quarterback we've ever seen. And if you follow the show, you know that's saying a lot coming from the president and vice president of the Jay Cutler fan club.
Basically.
Shout out Jay, shout out Kristen. Listen, Kristen, if you're listening, hire me to work for Uncommon James. I've got so many great ideas.
Hate it so
I'll
much.
move to Nashville this instant if you need me.
Hate it.
I'm waiting for season 2 of, what the fuck's the name of the show?
There you go, Very Cavallari.
Very Cavallari, there it is. I'm waiting for season 2, I'm hyped. I can't wait to see how...
I just want more Jay Cutler.
How the offseason's played out, and hopefully we'll get more Jay. I doubt we get as much Jay in season 2 as we did in season 1. I would expect it to be cut in half, because the storylines of the store are going to be more important than whatever she's doing.
No.
I mean, I want more Jay. But there's something in my gut that's telling me it's going to be less Jay, and it's going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
And then if they get renewed for season 3, that's when you'll see it kick in more Jay. Because they're going to be like, we're missing a whole market here.
Right.
The only reason you pull males into that show is through Jay Cutler.
Basically.
And that's how they hooked me. Now I'm ready for Uncommon James.
Yikes.
I tried to invest, but couldn't find it on the stock market. So.
Yikes.
She's going to get my money.
All right.
So Mitch. He's playing really, really well. He's developing and getting better every single week, and that comes a lot from Matt Nagy. It comes from experience. This isn't his first rodeo anymore, essentially.
Yeah.
Number 2, getting the ball into Tariq Cohen's hands. I said this before the season started, he is going to be the feature back in this offense. He fits the scheme way better. Jordan Howard is going to become obsolete. We've seen that. Howard kind of made a step forward this past week against Buffalo, playing a bigger role, but getting the ball to Tariq Cohen and letting him put people in a blender is massive for this offense because, I mean, he's a human joystick. The punt return last week.
He fucking has those kind of runs where he just runs 10, 15 yards backwards, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Because we've seen that with Devin Hester before for the Bears, and then he just turns it into a fucking 40-yard game, and you wonder how that happens.
I've made a pact that now every time he does that from this point on out in his career, I'm going to take the clip, download it to my computer, put it into Final Cut Pro, and start to do commentary on it. Hilarious commentary.
Like the Tom Brady throws every week. That one guy who does the Tom Brady throws. He's got the 3-yard. He's got like a 3-yard pass to the running back. Only fucking Tom Brady can make that throw.
And I'm going to partner it with my own version of Chris Berman's "Whoop, whoop, whoop." So keep that in mind when you're following me on Instagram because that's where the clips will be going.
Okay.
Just saying, not to toot my own horn or anything, but Tariq Cohen, massive for this offense. He is the secret weapon that they drafted last year that is not so secret anymore. 3, aside from that Dolphins game that they absolutely botched, they're taking care of business against the really, really bad teams. I mean, I think Seattle's bad. They beat them. Arizona's bad. They escaped there. They blew out the Bucks. They suck. They beat the Jets and they beat the Bills pretty badly. So if you want to be a good team in the NFL and a playoff team, you have to absolutely pound the bad teams.
You have to demolish the bad teams, and you have to keep it close with the good teams.
Yes.
And even games like New England where they played I mean, I feel like the final score was a little closer than what it was, but they still hung tight with New England.
No. The only time Kevin White's been relevant in 3-4 years.
And he just always comes up 1 yard short.
And he probably won't see the field again this year. I don't think he played last
He
year.
was a healthy scratch last week.
Healthy scratch. And there's your first round pick, Ryan Pace.
His first ever.
First round pick.
But you know what? I think Ryan Pace has made up for it so far.
Yeah, and I said it from the start, Kevin White was going to be a bust. We're not going to dissect that right now.
We don't need to.
I'm going to keep going here. Number 4, the world-class defense.
Right.
Vic Fangio's leading a phenomenal unit here. With or without Khalil Mack, I think regardless, still top in the NFL, top 2, top 3, in that tier 1 of defenses. You saw it last week. They've got playmakers all over the place. Leonard Floyd looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, Leonard Floyd hasn't had any sacks yet this year. I don't quite understand why, but they've been dropping him into coverage. He plays the pass well because he's fucking 6'6", covering the slots or covering the flat. And then he had a pick 6 last week, and he does really well defending against the run. I think hopefully last week is the breakout he needs to start rushing the passer better coming into the rest of the season because him, living up to his first round status across from Khalil Mack is going to be a problem for the rest of the quarterbacks that they face.
And it could kind of just be like he gets 1 sack and it kind of just spirals from there.
I'm hoping that's what the pick 6 does. He just starts.
He just needs
being
something to go
ballsy
his
after.
way, and then he
right.
just gets super, super confident, starts to make plays all over the field.
Right.
I forget what number this is, but I'm going to keep moving on. I've lost track.
That's fine.
And that's a good thing because that's a lot of pros.
Yes.
This team is built to win playoff football. Defense, they've got a run game. And I think they should use Tariq Cohen in the run game more than they do. But they've got a run game. We know they can run the ball. And the defense is very, very good, as I just mentioned. And that's what's going to win in the playoffs. Now, in the AFC, I look at that and I kind of see, we got the Chargers, who I think are the best team in the AFC, just a personal boast. They do it all. They play defense. They've got a good run game. They've got a good quarterback, period. You've got the Patriots. They don't have really any run game because Sonny Michel's been banged up, and he's kind of been the between-the-tackles guy, and then James White's their pass catcher, but obviously they have Tom Brady. And then the Chiefs, who just score points. That's it. Defense might
They can't stop it. But
No. The defense might as well just stay on the sideline.
Right.
Honestly. So
yeah, and then one thing I want to point out, too, with the way the Bears are built to win is that their offense, I'd say a good amount of their offense is focused on the short and the intermediate passing game as well. They're not going to take too many deep shots, and there's not going to be, ball security issues or taking too many risky chances when there's, snow coming down and whatnot, because they're pretty good in the short pass game.
Yeah, right now it's 25 degrees here in the suburbs of Chicago, so it's officially bear weather.
Yeah.
And you do not want to be throwing the ball 50 yards down the field.
No, you
it's
don't.
freezing cold, wind swirling, snow falling.
That's where Jordan Howard is going to come in, I think.
Yeah. I think they should have tried to move him.
Well, he wouldn't have gotten much anyway. But
Just get a running back.
I guess it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, dude's clearly obsolete in the scheme, but And then the last one we kind of mentioned already, the plus 82 point differential is massive in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people probably hear that number and think, oh, well, it's the defense stopping people.
Mm-hmm.
But we went over that there's only a few teams that have scored more points in the NFC, so that tells you, hey, the offense is scoring. By the way, an added bonus, the defense has scored.
Yeah, there's only 2 teams in the NFL who have a top 10 scoring offense and a top 10 scoring defense. One of them is the LA Rams, the other one is Chicago Bears. So the Bears score and they stop people from scoring.
And anytime you're in company with the Rams, right now, probably a pretty good thing.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
No
It's
problem.
not a bad
Ain't no
thing.
problem.
Ain't no problem.
Ain't no problem.
Just a couple pros I wanted to add as well, since Joey went first and basically took them all. I wanted to go specifics. Yeah, basically. I wanted to go with Kyle Fuller, first of all. Kyle Fuller got a lot of shit, and deservedly so, after signing that big contract and then dropping the pick versus Aaron Rodgers week 1, which would have sealed the win. But since then, Kyle Fuller has been one of the best, if not the best, corners in football, and he leads the NFL in interceptions right now. So he's showing to be worth that contract right now. It just really sucks that week 1 loss, but Kyle Fuller has been remarkable for the defense. We talked about Mitchell Trubisky's development, but part of that is due to their acquisitions and through free agency. We have Taylor Gabriel and Trey Burton. Trey Burton ranks second among tight ends in touchdown catches, so he has a nice rapport with Mitch. And then Taylor Gabriel has multiple 100-yard games with Mitchell Trubisky in the recent weeks, so those two have been pairing up really well. And I want to give a shout out to Matt Nagy's adjustments as well. You know, the Bears get shellacked, or not shellacked, but they get run over in the first half versus Miami. It's just a terrible game, just an example. And then they come out immediately and score a touchdown and take, a 2-touchdown lead versus Miami. And then we know how that game goes. Brocktober. But basically, Matt Nagy has shown an ability to see what works, what doesn't work, and make adjustments, as well as keeping his foot on the pedal after he learned what happened versus Green Bay. So he makes mistakes, learns from them, and that's the sign of a good coach.
Basically, the Bears should, if they have to play Brock Osweiler, should just not bother showing up. Dude's 4-0 against the Bears.
Yeah.
And 3 times were his first start with a new team.
It's crazy.
So, I mean, that dude just has a knack for being... They should just, honestly, you have to sign him. Like, that's the only way.
You have to basically sign him. Bitches back up.
You have to sign him. Can't beat him? Sign him. Honestly.
Basically.
Because, I mean, that way... if they beat the Dolphins, you're sitting at 6-2, 2-game lead in the division. You're sitting pretty. You got that loss. You got the loss to Green Bay. I mean, 7-1. So the potential is obviously there going into the second half. But to start off my list of cons, the second half schedule. You got to play the Vikings twice. You got to play the Packers one more time. And you got those pesky LA Rams on the schedule here, too.
Pesky, yeah.
Which you could slot
Maybe
in.
the best team in football.
Yeah,
but
you could slot in as an L right now.
Yeah.
So
you gotta hope they split versus the Vikings. I think they can split versus the Vikings and take the second one from Green Bay. But they really gotta win 2 of the next 3 and beat the Lions.
Yeah, they cannot lose both games to the Lions, or they cannot lose a game to the Lions.
Right, because that's a problem.
You need to beat the Lions both times. What do they play, like 3 games in 11 days right here?
It's going to be kind of nuts, yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it's 3 games in 11 days.
And 2 of those are against the Lions. You got to win those games.
2 of them are also in the morning, like literally a.m.
Yeah.
Because they're the first game on Thanksgiving.
Right, they're the 11 a.m. game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they play at noon this week.
Right.
So luckily for me, they got slotted to Sunday Night Football on the 18th, so I can watch that game because I won't be home till like 6:30 anyway. That's great for me. Going down the list of cons here, number 2, health, because they haven't had Khalil Mack, Allen Robinson, Kyle Long.
I was going to mention Kyle Long is out for the year, which is a problem for sure.
So they need to stay healthy. Hopefully, Mack and Robinson are both back on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games too where when they play the Rams, that Kyle Long would be great because he gets the matchup against Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald's going to have like 4 sacks that day.
Listen, I'm telling you, Aaron Donald. I don't think he had a sack in the first few weeks, and then he's already got like 10 sacks. I'm pretty sure.
He's the best defensive player.
Because I know a guy who has him in IDP, and he's like, I told him, I'm like, listen, if you're doing IDP, you need Aaron Donald. Look at what his
if we did IDP, I was taking Aaron Donald.
Look at his average draft position and draft him early because he is the best defender in football, and it's really not all that close. The dude is an absolute animal. I've seen times where he's getting double, triple teamed and just ripping people apart.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't
insane.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it literally does not matter who they play.
Yeah,
comes in 4th.
Hate that.
I thought they would take a flyer on Bruce Irvin, but it seems like
right. I mean, I feel like Khalil Mack at least tried to recruit.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But it just their pass rush is in a good their pass rush is in a good place right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of those things where you can never have too many. I mean, it's disappointing, but it's not like anything I'm super upset about.
Is it a playing time thing? Probably like go to
I mean,
Atlanta.
because Aaron Lynch hasn't been bad. Aaron Lynch has been healthy, and he's played well when he's been in that rotation. And I think they don't want to take snaps away from Leonard Floyd just because they want him to figure this shit out. Plus, they have two rookies they drafted who are also outside linebackers who got time last week versus the Bills. So I think they just want to give their young guys, the chance, I'm guessing. But I would have liked Bruce Irvin as well.
That's all I have for cons. Like that's literally all I.
The only one I have, we talked about Jordan Howard, but also Matt Nagy's usage of Jordan Howard this first half of the season has not been great by my standards anyway. I mean, we talked about versus Green Bay. He was averaging 6 yards per carry versus Green Bay, and then on 3rd and 1 situations, he decides to throw to fucking Deion Sims. You don't run with Jordan Howard. Or against the Dolphins, where they trusted Cody Parkey to kick a 52-yard field goal when on 3rd and short you could have run it with Jordan Howard.
That's a field goal Cody Parkey knew he wasn't going to make.
Yeah, Cody Parkey knows he's not going to make
And then
that.
he missed that field goal and then did this.
Yeah, like
Like,
that.
what you missed? What? Ooh.
Basically, if Jordan Howard's purpose is going to be just a short yardage back in this offense, then you need to use him.
Yeah, I mean, this is just another thing that we flat out called.
Right.
I mean, we've been spot on a lot of this
And
kind of
then
stuff.
one thing, too, just as like a neutral thing with Matt Nagy, we also said when he got hired was that the hire might be 1 year too early as opposed to next offseason or whatever when he's going to be the most clamored after guy. So there's going to be growing pains. There have been growing pains. But the point is he sees the mistakes he's made, Matt Nagy does, and he's at least trying to improve from them. The only exception would be the Jordan Howard usage.
Just remember one thing. Super Bears, Super Bowl.
Bears.
All right, let's move on. NFL lock of the week this week, real simple for me. I just said earlier that I think the Chargers are the best team in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking the Chargers my lock of the week over the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders are god-awful.
Oh, terrible.
God-awful.
Well, good thing for you, Gruden, is you got 10 years to get this right.
Yeah, well,
Might take you a few.
he's got, 5 first-round picks in the next 2 drafts or something like that?
Better not miss.
Better not fuck it up.
Hit or miss. I bet you never miss, huh?
Stop.
I
Please
stopped.
stop. My lock of the week, New England given 6.5 point favorites versus the Titans. And you know what? I don't see how because this is going to be I know, spoilers, this is going to be Joey's upset of the week.
Come on.
I don't fucking get it. The Titans lost to the goddamn Bills.
Come on.
I don't get it. And it's Tom fucking Brady.
Listen,
I don't.
obviously,
No.
my upset of the
We
week.
can debate this one if you want.
My upset of the week is the Titans to flat out beat the Patriots. It's a 6.5 point game.
No, absolutely.
Listen, the Titans, I get it. I get what you're saying about Buffalo. Didn't the Vikings also lose to Buffalo?
Yeah, I don't think the Vikings are as good as we thought they were either.
Well, I think they are coming into form now, especially
Yeah,
on the defensive side.
It's problematic.
Yeah,
It's
it
problematic.
is. Listen, the Patriots have won 6 in a row, so starting 1 and 2. Obviously, they're probably the second best team in the AFC. They've got Tom Brady, who probably he's the second best quarterback ever, talent-wise. But I mean, I can see why people call him the GOAT. Anyway, Mike Vrabel has done a solid job with this Tennessee team. Solid. Their defense is better than people think. They're going to give Tom Brady fits. This is going to be a low-scoring game, and that's why I think, one, they're going to cover the spread. So, I mean, 6.5.
Who do you think is the better team, the Bears or the Titans? Bears lost by 7.
I know the Bears lost by 7. I think the Bears are better than the Titans, but I
There
think
we
this
go.
game is close.
I'm using all the logic I got.
We're going to come back to it. I mean, I think Titans beat the Patriots.
All right, fair enough.
And I
fair
can't
enough.
wait. I can't wait to be right.
And then my upset of the week, Arizona Cardinals getting 16 and a
Oh
half
my God.
versus the Chiefs.
This is a plain and simple volume.
It really is because that's such a big line. That is
3
such
scores.
a big line. And you know what? Josh Rosen with Byron Leftwich, I'm hoping they can keep it close.
So basically, you're saying, listen, keep it within 3 possessions.
I'm thinking that it's going to be one of those things where hopefully the Chiefs just go up and they start running the football more.
That's the thing. The Chiefs have gone up and then kept going up.
I know. I'm hoping they just run the ball and Josh Rosen gets some garbage time scores because this is the line is so crazy. Obviously, the Chiefs are one of the top offenses in the NFL, and the Arizona Cardinals are one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NFL.
Which is what you actually said we talked about it here in the offseason that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be the worst team in the
Yeah,
NFL
well,
this year.
I'm hoping Josh Rosen can at least keep it within 16.5 points, because that's
Do
crazy.
you think Sam Bradford will be there with shades on, just going, yo, I fleeced this league for $130
Oh,
million?
God.
What a mess.
He's had the best job. I mean, Jesus Christ. He was the last first overall pick, I believe, where they didn't do the rookie wage scale.
Yes.
So he got $50 million from the Rams, and then I don't know, where the fuck was he? Was he in Philly?
The Eagles,
He was in Philly. He got cash there. He got cash from Arizona.
He played 3 games and made like $13.5 million.
That's fucking crazy, man.
That's nuts.
People talk about Mike Lennon fleecing the Bears last year, but Jesus Christ, Sam Bradford.
Speaking of Mike Lennon, he's on that team too.
He is.
Ooh, that's a rough squad
It
there.
is.
All right, let's switch it up here. Go to the NBA. This is going to be really, really quick because, one,
Right.
I haven't watched a second of Bulls basketball this year, and I don't plan on watching it.
So I've watched more Bulls basketball than you, obviously.
Yeah,
I'll just tell you, give you the highlights real quick. Jabari Parker, a waste of $20 million. An absolute fucking waste of $20 million. Him and his high fucking socks he wears every fucking game. He's terrible. Awful on defense. Has not been good offensively. Zach LaVine through the first 12 games has had at least 20 points per game. Zach LaVine's a fucking stud.
I was looking up his numbers. He's shooting 46%, averaging 27 a game.
Yeah, Zach LaVine's a fucking monster. Chris Dunn, hurt. Doesn't matter. Laurie Markkinen, hurt. Doesn't matter. Wendell Carter Jr. has been a monster sometimes in the middle. But he's also fouled out, I think, a couple times. But looks like to be a very good center going forward. And he's only 19 years old. Beyond that, they fucking beat the Knicks in double overtime.
Yeah, their 3 wins are against really bad teams, I believe.
And you know what? That double overtime win versus the Knicks is fucking just crucial for the rebuild.
So they
they
beat the Hornets, and then the
Bad
night
way.
after got blown out by 30 by the Hornets. They beat the Knicks by 1, and they beat the Hawks. And the Hawks
They needed to
garbage.
lose to the Knicks.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, Cleveland's 1-10 in that shit.
Oh.
Hey, turns out, spoiler alert, you lose the best player in the world, you're gonna be fucking terrible.
Crazy, right?
And then you're gonna fire.
So
your
basically,
coach.
we know Zion Williamson or R.J. Barrett are going to be in Cleveland, but we want the other one to be in Chicago.
Yeah, listen, if the Bulls don't get a top 2 pick, yikes. That's all I have to say. You need to get R.J. Barrett or Zion Williamson, preferably R.J. Barrett. I can see a lot of NBA teams taking Zion number 1. Fine.
I feel like Zion will go number 1 because he's got the same height that LeBron and Derrick
He's
Rose
flashy.
had.
He's got
been
size.
He's been on the cover of all these magazines since he was like 14 years old.
Yeah, I mean.
So people know who Zion Williamson is a little more than they know R.J. Barrett.
R.J. Barrett is so good.
I know R.J. Barrett's so good.
He can do everything. The other night they were playing Kentucky on Tuesday after we were at office trivia.
Right.
Sick. I got home and was able to watch a lot of that game.
We finished in second.
Yeah, we lost to a team.
Sudden death.
Yeah, sudden death. By the way, as we're walking up for sudden death, I noticed that they're wearing Knights of the Knights t-shirt. I go, GG.
Also, we'll give you the office trivia question that we lost on. How many times has Michael Scott said, "That's what she said" during the office? It's 42. Guess what the other team guessed? 42. They either knew that ahead of time or they're fucking cheaters.
I was eagle-eyeing them to make sure they didn't cheat because I didn't know the answer. So I was letting you and Jack figure it out. And they didn't cheat. Like, they did not cheat.
Yeah, I think we guessed 50, which was...
We guessed 54.
Oh, okay.
Which we thought was a pretty solid number. And
Yeah.
we were, only 12 off. We went over.
Unfortunate.
Anyways, I was watching the game Tuesday night, and, Kentucky, R.J. Barrett was, getting to the rim easy. He was scoring, and they switched to his zone. He literally, on a fast break, they're coming down the floor, they switch to his zone, he just pulls up from 30 feet, swish. Barely touches the net. I'm like, oh boy, I think I'm in love.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, he can play. And his dad was there, his dad's cheering him on. I was like, oh man, this is sick.
So basically, either one of them is going to be a superstar, and you need to get one of them. You can't be doing this bullshit where, like they did last year, how they fucking, I get it. Wendell Carter Jr. might be, might have been underused in college and might be a fine fucking center in the league, but you know what? You can't put yourself in this position where you just miss out on a guy like Mo Bamba.
I love Mo Bamba.
I love Mo Bamba.
I also love the song Mo Bamba.
Okay, well,
I'll be ballin' like Mo.
Stop.
All right.
You can't do this again, and you can't sing. But if you're the Bulls, you can't do this again. You can't fucking miss out on a top 2, top 3 draft pick because of this.
From the hardwood to the hot stove. Today, a bombshell was dropped on me. we're not going to go there first. We're going to let Corey talk about the White Sox.
So you're gonna introduce it and then just take it away.
I teased it.
Now
Now they're sticking around.
I don't think so.
Anyways.
Basically, the White Sox are getting Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, and there's
Oh man.
nothing you can say otherwise because it's just gonna happen. I feel it.
Okay, but why did they want to go to the South Side?
Sell
Sell me on it.
$400 million.
No, I get it. Like, I get the money, but other teams can offer them money too.
Not as much.
What's the difference between $350 and $400 million?
$50 million. If I gave you $50 million right now, would that
To me,
That's it. That's all I need to know.
not to them,
That's all I need to know.
because these guys are mega athletes who have money, plenty of it.
Because you can sell them on the fucking city of Chicago, first of all.
The wrong side of the city of Chicago.
No, it doesn't matter. Because I don't know if you know this, but Manny Machado, he has a dog, and his dog's name is the G-Spot. So he's going to be playing at the G-Spot. Wait,
his dog's name is literally the
G-Spot? It's guaranteed rate field, just like...
No, I know guaranteed rate field.
Just how Bryce Harper's dog is named Wrigley, and everybody told me that he was going to go to the Cubs because his dog's name is... No, he can't.
Still could.
Tell me how he can.
Tom Ricketts wants to pay a luxury tax fine?
Yeah, the team with the highest payroll in baseball is going to add a $40 million per year contract. Okay.
I mean, there's ways to shed cash.
Yeah, who's taking Jason Hayward?
No, Tyler Chatwood.
Who's taking Tyler Chatwood?
The White Sox.
Nah, it's not how that works. Not how that works.
Phillies.
In all seriousness, though, John Morrissey, baseball writer for God knows who, was on the White Sox Talk podcast with Chuck Garfien. Said the White Sox have a 30% chance at each Manny Machado and Bryce Harper, which, given the number of teams in, is not bad odds. Basically, he said they're at the table. So, I always thought it was going to be Manny Machado. I thought Machado was going to be the guy, but all this Harper shit's coming out of nowhere. Not out of nowhere, but it is coming.
I mean, you don't think every team who wants him is going to do that? Like, quote-unquote, pull out all the stops?
No, I didn't say that at all. But
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, no, they're doing it. I mean, you know, I thought initially when we saw, like, at the Blackhawks game, they were going to do the Bryce Harper banner, the black and white with the number 34. There was a Michael Kopech post on Instagram about giving up number 34 if he has to, which is fine. And they did the Bryce Harper jersey, White Sox jersey, on the Michael Jordan statue in front of the UC. So clearly they're preparing something for him. Now, we haven't heard anything about Manny Machado yet. You know, they tried to trade for Manny Machado last offseason. The Orioles wanted Kopech or Giolito, and that wasn't happening. But so there's clearly interest in Manny Machado as well. They can afford to pay both of them $40 million a year and still rank 18th in payroll. 18th in payroll.
No, I get that aspect of it.
That's kind of fucking ridiculous.
Here's my thing.
But you sell them, so to answer your question, you sell them on being the face of a rebuild. The face in a big market, and...
Who wants to be that? Like, okay, hear me out here.
Okay.
Harper turned down $300 million from the Nationals.
That was no opt-outs.
Okay.
Okay.
It's still $300 million.
Give him opt-outs after year 4, year 6.
Basically, everybody thinks he wants to leave Washington because they can't win.
Okay.
Machado just fell short of the World Series title in the World Series. He's played in Baltimore his whole career before that. Yeah. Don't you think these guys want to go somewhere right now and have an opportunity to win?
The only team that can afford them actively, who's in the playoffs at a consistent pace, is the Yankees. That's it. And the Yankees aren't getting both of them.
No, but they could easily get one.
They could get one, but the Yankees seem to be focused on adding at least 2 starters right now.
And you don't think the Phillies are a better fit for Harper as far as winning sooner than the White Sox?
Not really. I'll be honest with you, I don't particularly see it, and the reason for that, I mean, we talk about how the Phillies just fucking fell apart.
No, they did collapse.
Now, and then there was also that report too, we don't know, the Phillies could be selling everybody except for 2 players.
Sure.
I mean, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. The White Sox know what the fuck they're doing. The White Sox have the second lowest payroll in baseball after the Tampa Bay Rays. $10 million committed before arbitration. You got endless money. You have a guy in Jerry Reinsdorf who, as all the criticism I've given to him as an owner, he's old and he's, fingers crossed, not going to be with us very long. Okay, he wants to win while he's still alive. Why isn't he going to throw $40 million a year at Manny Machado and Bryce Harper? I'm not saying they're getting both. My prediction, I think they're going to get one.
Yeah.
I don't think they get both because that would just be fucking outrageous. and I would lose my mind.
I'm looking at Houston's payroll. It's sitting at 77.9.
Okay, and
I'm looking at hypothetical.
oh, you mean teams that can afford?
Yeah, just
okay.
straight
Where
up.
are you putting Manny Machado?
No, I'm just straight up looking at it.
Right.
And give your initial reaction.
The only team I could see is the Yankees because they have a third baseman in Miguel Andujar who is not very good at third base.
I mean,
and they have the Didi Gregorius.
Dodgers are a player for either one as well.
What's their payroll?
They're at 116.
Where does that rank?
128 million. Excuse me. Fifth. Sorry, there's two Los Angeleses right there.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the Angels too. Honestly, you need to start a pair with Trout. Finally, going to get him some help in the lineup.
So basically, the team with the 5th highest payroll and the 6th highest payroll get into a bid with the team with the 29th highest payroll.
Sure. But the Dodgers have proven that they don't give a shit about luxury. I mean, they say that they did stay under, and did they say that they want to stay? Because I think the only two teams paid the luxury tax this year. It was Boston and it was Washington. Those were the only two teams that paid.
No, I want to see something too really quick because I thought the Dodgers had already. There was like an article written about the Dodgers where they want to stay under.
No, they do. Yeah, they say they want to.
Right.
But at the same time,
I can only go off of what teams say unless there's something just blatantly.
You're the Dodgers.
Right.
You win the division 6 years in a row.
Right.
You've been to the World Series the last 2 years, the LCS 3 years in a row, and you don't have a championship. Like something like that, like you have to say, all right, this is it for Kershaw, 3-year deal. He's over $97 million. We've got him. We've got Ryu, who knows what he is next year. He had a really good year this year. Rich Hill, God, that guy's ancient.
Walker Buehler
Is the star of the rotation. And then they've got Urias. He's back now, whether he stays in the bullpen or goes to the rotation. And you've got guys like Turner, Puig. I don't know their free agent situation all too well. They could use help at catcher because Grandal can't cut it, in my opinion. They've got Peterson. They've got Bellinger. Like, that's a good team. Why are you not saying, all right, one last push. Our window could be shutting here pitching-wise because all we have that's...
What is their payroll? I'm sorry.
The Dodgers is sitting at 128.
Okay, so this is just like a quick headline, too. This is factoring everybody in that they already have.
Right, this is, I think, just guaranteed.
No, I'm about to tell you a number. The number is $206 million for that threshold. They're already at 171.
Okay.
So they can basically throw. Sure, they could throw
That's
30.
one.
They could throw
That's
30
one.
million at Manny Machado, but they can't do anything else then.
Yeah.
And they've already proven that with Manny Machado, they can't win a World Series. So they need to upgrade in a couple other areas. They're going to get Corey Seager back. Why would you pay for Manny Machado when you have Corey Seager and then you can allocate money somewhere else?
So then you move to Bryce Harper. You don't go Manny Machado, you go Bryce Harper.
Who do they have in the outfield? Puig,
Peterson.
Bellinger sometimes plays out there
Chris
too.
Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they could, but then again, my point isn't that they need just an outfielder.
No, they need help elsewhere.
They need help elsewhere. So why are they throwing all of the money they have at one part, and they're just going to think, oh well, everything else is just going to fix itself?
Yeah. If they decide to do that,
right.
Just hypothetically, I think LA more attractive than Chicago, north side or south side. Like, that's not even based on team; it's based on city. And I think the division's easier.
The only thing with LA though, and we've talked about this with Mike Trout, and we're having like a nice M.O.M.S basement thinking session, discussion session right now, is that LA, the Angels with Mike Trout gets no
love.
Advertisement at all because he's in fucking LA. All his games start at 9 p.m. Central.
He's on the wrong team in LA.
Basically, he's on the wrong team in LA, and nobody cares about baseball in LA. Like, I'll just be honest with you. Like, it's not even like a priority out there.
I've never been to LA, so I mean.
Well, just based on how they advertise the players, I mean.
I'll be going though because the Cubs play the Dodgers in June.
Yeah, your birthday.
Your boy's going.
Yeah.
Big time.
But basically, if it comes down to a money bidding war, like, okay, if Manny Machado or Bryce Harper want to take less money to go to a winning team, the White Sox can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
You know, because you were never going to win anyway, whether you offered him 300, 350, 400 million, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying from my point of view, these players, this is two 26-year-old players entering the prime of their career. They're already 5-6 win players, and you have $10 million committed to your entire fucking roster and holes to fill. Manny Machado has been my guy because in the entire White Sox farm system, They don't have much at third base.
They don't have anything at third base.
You have Jake Berger tore his Achilles.
Twice.
Okay? Twice. Before that, anyway, he was going to be a first baseman anyway. You have M.O.M.S, who you could move to third. I don't want to do that because M.O.M.S is great range, needs to work on the hands. At third base, you need great hands and less range.
Yeah, you're going to get stomped.
So basically, he might learn to play third base, but I don't want to put that on him right now. He's a very fine defender at second base. And they really don't have much else after that. You need to realize that you don't wait for Nolan Arenado next offseason. You don't settle on Josh Donaldson. You don't wait for Anthony Rendon next offseason. Yeah.
Moose!
No Moose. You sign Manny Machado right now, you throw the fucking book at him. You throw everything you have at him. And you know what? You sign Bryce. You do the same thing with Bryce Harper. The White Sox have an ass load of minor league prospects that are all outfielders. Very, very talented outfielders. You package those for a solution at third base in a trade. You need to land one of those two. Because it's a face of your rebuild. It's a superstar. It gives you legitimacy. And if you sign one or both of them, it gives you a shot at a wild card next year because they're both that good.
And I'm just taking a look at every team that's below league average in payroll. And just Houston, don't think it's going to happen. Arizona, I don't think they have money. Kansas City, not a shot. Milwaukee has no money. Detroit, rebuild. Philly, maybe. Depending on what they decide to do. It's like they're
That's the
flipping
thing.
out.
That's the thing too with Philly, and I'm not trying to discount it because if I had to put money on it, I would say Harper goes to Philly and the White Sox can get Machado. But if they don't know what the fuck they're doing, they're wasting time.
It's like they're putting on a blindfold, throwing a dart in a dartboard.
Right.
It's yes or no.
They're wasting time.
Yeah. Cincinnati, not going to happen. Toronto, absolutely not. Atlanta, I would put them as a dark horse, honestly.
I think the White Sox are the dark horse, but like I see what you're saying from my point of view, where I think they're going to get it.
Right.
I think Atlanta would be a dark horse for my scenario.
Pittsburgh, no chance. San Diego, I'd be stumped.
They could do it.
San Diego could. They could. I would be stumped.
I don't.
How many home runs do you think they're going to hit in that park? Oof.
We saw what Eric Hosmer did this year.
18.
We called that shit exactly.
Baltimore, that's a joke. Miami's...
Manny goes back to Baltimore.
That'd be the ultimate troll.
Oh my god.
Like, sup, I'm back. They trade him again.
Yeah.
Now he's got a new contract.
Look at the other teams down there. Fucking Miami's in...
Miami, they don't have any
They're
money.
like, they have nothing in the farm and they're rebuilding.
Minnesota, no. Oakland, they won 90 games, but they don't have any money.
And nobody likes playing in Oakland anyway.
No.
That park is not the greatest.
We already went over the White Sox, and then Tampa Bay is not going to do it either.
Yeah. So basically, the only team I'm super, super scared about is the Yankees. Because if you look at the Yankees' payroll, it's low for the
Yankees. 103 million.
Yeah, but you know what? That gives them, after arbitration and whatnot, that gives them like $80 million to play with.
Ooh.
So you know what? And I was really hoping Kershaw was going to opt out because then Kershaw could go to the Yankees for a good amount of money. But you know what? If the Yankees are focused on pitching right now, they're rumored to not be interested in Bryce Harper. You know, Manny Machado, they're sort of iffy on, but...
Well, Kershaw did opt out.
I thought he came back for 3 years.
They re-signed.
I meant like if he hit free agency.
Okay.
My bad. No, so the only team I'm super scared about right now is the Yankees because I think you can outbid or outmaneuver around the Phillies. The Phillies don't scare me.
With the Rockies, they're sitting at $86 million, and they know they're not signing a pitcher. Like, no...
The only thing is they need to re-sign Nolan Arenado next offseason. That's the only thing I can think
puts
of.
them at like 120, 115 million.
I guess they could, but
they
I
can
mean...
still do it, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't need Machado because they have Trevor Story.
Right.
So that would be
and they have
Harper.
because I know every team's farm system, their top prospect is Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan Rodgers, yeah.
So basically...
Oh, wow. If they
It's-
signed Harper and they had Arenado, Story, Rodgers in the middle there.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy team.
Whoa.
But basically, my entire encompassing point is that the time is now, okay?
Yeah, this is kind of like...
You're not going to get another chance at a 26-year-old superstar.
This is the John Lester. Like, when the Cubs signed John Lester, it was like, okay, it's time to go win.
This is just even more so than that because there was a connection there between Theo and John Lester.
Yeah.
This is the fucking time to make it happen. You need to go all in because Nolan Arenado next offseason, sure, he's a great third baseman, but he's got the Coors effect and he's older than Manny Machado.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Anthony Rendon, there's a lot of questions in terms of his commitment to playing baseball. Bryce Harper and Manny Machado are generational talents at 26 years old, and you have all the money in the world. there's no excuse not to go after them. If you offer them $400 million, they decide to sign for $350 somewhere else. You know what? You did what you could. But this is the time.
All right. To the Cubs. I've got a bone to pick. I don't know who released the story. I don't. I think it was the Tribune.
I think it was Jesse Rogers who had the article.
Jesse. Oh my God. How many times have we gone over this? Jesse. Stop being a Wilbon. Stop being Rick Morrissey.
Stop. Stop. I know the references you're making, and it's time to stop.
I want everybody to look me in the eyes right now.
No, we're not doing
Deep in the pupils.
I'm not looking you in the eyes.
Not you. Them. The Chicago Cubs will not trade Kris Bryant. I don't know what load of crap this is.
It was storied by Buster
Jesse.
Only. No, Buster Only. It was on
Buster.
Jesse's Twitter page.
Buster, what are you doing? Stop being a Buster. Stop new boot goofing out there.
All right, because they just believe in David Bodie that much.
Listen, David Bodie, I get it. He had a walk-off grand slam.
He hit that grand slam one time.
He always seemed to come up in the clutch. This was David Bodie last season. He was up, peaked at the grand slam, and then it was straight nosedive the rest of the year. Straight no. You didn't notice he wasn't getting playing time because Joe Madden's like, well, this kid's done. Like, he peaked. Like, that's it. Congrats, man.
I mean, they called him up. He was like 27, 28 years old. What the fuck do you expect from a 27?
There's a reason he's in the minor leagues.
Unless you're Whit Merrifield for some reason.
Well, we're going to get into him later, but we forgot to mention Boston. I can't believe we forgot to mention the World Series winner.
Oh, yeah. Hey. We'll take an L. Boston won the World Series.
Basically,
we thought the Yankees would beat them. Whoopsie-doops.
If I had told Corey in April that the Red Sox would win the World Series without Chris Sale being Chris Sale, he would slap me in the face.
Yeah.
And he really wasn't good. Like, towards the second half. Maybe he's lights out in the first half per usual. His belly button ring got infected.
That's so funny.
It's
so
not
funny.
true.
It's so funny.
I mean, it's not. It's not.
No, the 0.00001% chance that that's true has me crying.
So right after that happened, quickly, the Barstool guy, Jared Carrabis, who's like the Red Sox dude. You hate him?
He's kind of douchey.
I love the Rocket. He's douchey on purpose. That's part of the persona. But I love the Rocket. Anyway, right after the Chris Sale story, he went and got a fake belly button ring.
I saw the picture.
That's hilarious. I'm sorry. Shout out the Rocket, by the way. He threw it away once.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so Boston did it. I didn't think they had the pitching. David Price showed up. Nathan Eovaldi turned out to be a clutch addition for them.
Right.
So props to them, honestly. Congratulations. But the Cubs, they're not trading Kris Bryant. It's ludicrous. Period. Like, I'm triggered by the.
I can tell that you are. It's so funny.
And it's not even the fact that I care if they trade Kris Bryant, because if they did it, I don't think I'd be that upset, depending on what the package was, obviously. But he has 3 years of control left. He's only halfway through the 6 years they get. So you've got him until 2021. So why are you even talking about it? You know he's under arbitration, whatever. You can't go to the market. You can't get the big offers.
Okay, but let's talk about a trade. Let's talk about potential Kris Bryant trade. So just
I think
knowledge of farm systems in my head, because again, I'm a fucking rebuilding in White Sox team. You've got guys like the Blue Jays. You've got guys like the Padres. You've got guys like the White Sox. You've got guys like the Braves.
It's not going to be the White Sox. Cross them out.
I'm saying teams that could afford.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They could. I don't think they would.
You go from there. Teams like the Braves, who have somewhat of a need at third base. The Blue Jays. Why would the Blue Jays give up?
It would have to be Guerrero and Bichette.
Why would you have to give up Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette?
Yeah.
Are they going to do that? No. It's just not going to happen.
I would do it.
Okay.
I think I would do it.
You've got a team like the Padres. Sure, I guess they could. Because their top prospect. Oh, I hate this. Fernando Tatis Jr. I would hate that so much if he went to the Cubs and became a stud.
Fernando.
But he's got a broken thumb. That's great. But no, they have. If they envision Tatis as their long-term answer at third base, why would they give him up for Kris Bryant? And then you've got what was the team I mentioned? Braves. We did Braves, Blue Jays, Padres, and we're not doing the White Sox. Okay. Because you basically have to give up Eloy or Dylan Cease.
Kopech and Cease.
No, not happening.
So
the only other alternative is you look at those teams. All those teams have their top prospects close to the majors. The Braves have a top 50 third baseman, Austin Riley, who's in AAA. So you're asking them to give up a bunch of prospects during a quote unquote rebuild time, and for one player who has 3 years of control.
Right. This is why I'm saying it's not happening.
Happening.
There's no good fit.
There's no intelligent way that happens.
2, there's no way to get value for Kris Bryant through prospects. Yeah,
because look at it this way. You can get equal value, I think. If you get Vlad Guerrero Jr. or something like that, you can. But these teams aren't giving up the prospects, so you have to look at teams who have a ton of prospects in like high A ball.
Yeah.
Which is what the White Sox have at the
Which is
moment.
far away.
High A ball. So basically, you're giving up a top 5 player in the game, severely hemorrhaging your team for at least the next year and a year and a half. Okay? You're closing your window just to maybe hopefully open it again. That's not what you do. That's not what any logical team
No,
does.
I agree. It's not smart.
It's not smart at all.
I see where the thinking is. Like I get that thinking. I don't even think it's the Cubs thinking that. I think it's other teams that are calling the Cubs and then they're overreacting, saying, "Oh well, they're not." Theo doesn't put an untouchable label on people,
Right.
And that's where this all stems from. He doesn't say Kris Bryant's untouchable, but he's not going to trade Kris Bryant. It's like the same thing with Rizzo.
Right. So, and that it reminds me, it's sort of like an inverse of when the White Sox were trying to rebuild while still contending back in 2013, because they traded Jake Peavy, and they traded off a couple. I think they traded off a couple other pieces. They tried to get Jake Arrieta, but he failed physical. Yeah, that haunts me forever. But you can't. This would be like the opposite, where they're trying to reload while also contending.
Yeah.
If you trade Kris Bryant, the Cubs are the 3rd best team in the Central.
That's bold.
He's an MVP caliber.
No, I get it. He is. I mean, he is an MVP. He's proven that.
They're not better than the Brewers, and I think the Cardinals could overtake them if you lose Kris Bryant.
I think right now as it stands, they're better than the Brewers.
I have 2018 season standings.
No, I get it.
Otherwise.
I get it. On paper, they're better than the Brewers. That pitching, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know how the Brewers...
And they're getting Jimmy Nelson back.
No, fuck if I care about Jimmy Nelson. Show me an ace on that team.
I could show you a 2nd place team.
No
Anywho,
playoff. All
so
right.
basically it doesn't make barely.
No, it doesn't.
Barely. Wait. They're still a playoff team. Barely. Anywho. I know, you're so upset. But it doesn't make sense. It's not happening.
I want to look more... If they trade Kris Bryant, I'll let Corey pour ice water on my head in the snow. Like,
Love it.
I mean, it's not going to happen. There's no chance.
No, I really want it to happen. We'll wait for one of the days where it's like minus 20 wind chill outside, and I'm gonna do it. And it's gonna be great.
Anyway, if they got Vlad Guerrero, that'd be the only shot for me not to be furious, because he could probably play next year.
He can play
let's
next
be
year.
honest, yeah. So
He's got 80 grade hit tool, 80 grade power.
Yeah,
That's it.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because the Cubs don't have another answer at third base.
But then at so like again, would you trade Kris Bryant 1 for Vlad Guerrero Jr.?
No.
So then you would need another team. You would need them to give up Bo Bichetti, and if you're the Blue Jays, you would have to just have your brain sucked out of your head to have that happen.
Or Stroman. I do it for them and Stroman.
Him and Stroman, not just Bryant for Stroman.
No. Guerrero and Stroman.
Yeah, okay, that'd be the dumbest trade ever.
I love Stroman.
Yeah, I know
He's
you
winning
do.
the Cy Young next year.
Tim Anderson's gonna kick his ass.
Couldn't do it if he tried. All right, so I want to look at the payroll situation. We kind of went over this already.
Yeah.
They're the highest payroll in the league. So with guaranteed deals, they're only at 165.5. But after you add arbitration and all that stuff, that's going to be coming here. They're probably going to be like 208.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know if this factors into that Jason Hayward didn't opt out and stuff like that.
So he's locked in at $20 million next year. I think it is. $20 million.
I try not to be a Shy Sox fan, Mike, but that's so funny.
Cole Hamels at $20 million also. You got those two guys locked in $20 million apiece after they traded Drew Smyly to the Rangers. I mean, that's another thing that like really stumped me. Like we were actually talking that same day, like, oh, Chatwood and Schwarber to the White Sox to get rid of that money, free up some money to do whatever with.
Right.
So they ended up trading Drew Smyly, who they signed last year, and the plan was to rehab all of 2018. Check. Pitch 2019.
Not check. Well,
No
check for another team.
Yeah. They trade him before he gets
Right.
the chance to even pitch, which kind of surprised me. I really, really wish they would have gone about it a different way. It is what it is. Drew Smyly will be like a 17-game winner next year with the Rangers. I'm taking bets, honestly. So Cole Hamels back for $20 million. I honestly would have taken the chance that, opt him or don't accept the option. Texas has to pay his buyout of like $6.5 million. Take your odds to re-sign him at half that, just to give you a little bit more wiggle room because you're in the tax. And
Firmly.
the threshold number 2 is close. You're like $20 million away, and you're $40 million away from threshold number 3.
That's okay though, because Bryce Harper's dog's name is Wrigley, and Kris Bryant is his best friend.
I mean, for all we know, Ricketts could say, "Here's $30 million," and then they do nothing else. Team stands as is.
That team still loses.
I mean, that's still a good team.
I agree. It's a great lineup. A lineup.
I mean, the rotation's done. The rotation's set. They're not going to touch the rotation.
They should.
Let's look. Lester, Hendricks, Darvish, Hamels, and Quintana.
Easy with the Darvish stuff.
He's going to be healthy, at least for April.
There we go. Okay. At least, hold on. At least for February.
Your 5 guys are in.
At least for
Quintana's going to bounce back. He'll be better next year. No question about it. Hendricks is Hendricks. He's good. Lester has still been a very good pitcher in the majors, even though he's getting older. I mean, he's been good. Still can't throw to first base, but his numbers speak for themselves.
Right.
Hamels, you saw he like 2.36, but after coming to the Cubs last year, I have no question about him.
So so I'm clear, just for you as a Cubs fan, have you accepted that it's not realistic that they're not going to get Bryce Harper?
Oh, I never thought it was.
Bullshit.
No, I'm serious.
A year ago, you told me.
Oh, I'll play it off. But you look at these. I'm looking at the numbers.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
We
We were doing pre-show about a year ago, and Joey tells me Bryce Harper's going to be a Cub, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Oh, Bryce Harper is going to be a Cub.
See, there we go. See.
You can't tell me otherwise.
See, it's the exact quote.
Right.
But you're more serious about it then.
Yeah, I was more serious, but it's still like, how can you afford?
Yeah, right.
Especially because you've got contracts coming.
Yeah, because well, first off, you're going to lose Lester in a couple of years, and then Bryant's coming up.
Yeah, 3 years.
Unless you trade Bryant. But if you trade Bryant and sign Bryce Harper, which I guess you save Bryant ARB money to do so, that's a kind of a lateral move.
It's kind of, it's straight horizontal.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, so basically the Cubs are up against it, and you think they need bullpen help.
Oh, they need. This is the only thing I want them to address because it seems every year the bullpen is just absolutely drained. Sign as much depth in the bullpen as possible. Pedro Strop's already coming back. Great. I love Stropey. He's a damn good relief pitcher. Damn good. I think this year was probably his career year, honestly. Without looking at his numbers, I would say it was his best year. Brandon Morrow, who knows? Steve Cishek his arm might fall off. He was used so much last year.
Was he good?
Oh yeah, he was good until you started to get to appearance 77s, 82.
Fuck.
Like obviously, almost anybody's gonna. Dude, you guys gotta stop putting me in the game, man. This is ridiculous. Carl Edwards Jr. I'm still up in the air on because he's so weak mentally. Like you're soft. Like I'm sorry. You gotta get mentally tougher, and the skill is there.
He still hasn't gotten that ball that hasn't landed for Bryce Harper.
Oh my god!
Maybe it'll land in the next couple months.
That was a meatball, dude.
Maybe that'll land in the next couple months.
I can see that pitch and that swing clearly in my mind.
And you're just like, fuck.
As soon as it hit the bat, you went, oh my god.
It's not a big deal because the Cubs won that series,
Right.
but like just that moment, you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, he was getting destroyed on Twitter that night.
Oh, that was
because he made his account private. Like it was still private into last year. Anyways, there's a lot of bullpen arms available. I would like to see short contracts. Do not lock anybody in long term. Short contract, do what you got to do. I mean, perfect world, I'd like Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah.
Not likely. It's possible. Not likely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where teams are as far as paying relievers goes because you have the Yankees just give out a fuck ton of money to Aroldis Chapman.
Kimbrell made $13 million last year.
And if he's looking to upgrade on that,
I would assume he is probably 15 to 17 million.
Yeah, I hope MLB teams wisen up eventually and realize that relievers shouldn't be paid that much money. But as the market stands, he's going to make a good amount of money.
So that's why I kind of want to go Zach Britton on a prove it deal because he kind of went to the Yankees and wasn't good, frankly.
Yeah, I mean that would have to be one of those things where like how he had last year's MLB offseason where it just dragged into February and March and shit.
There's no
that would have to be one of those things.
Here's a prove it deal. Other guys available: Cody Allen, Ryan Madsen, who's super old, so he can't be going much money. Cubs have already been rumored to be interested in Uri's Familia, I guess.
A lot of teams are because the White Sox were connected to them too.
Yeah, I mean, he's good, I guess, but he comes with some off the field baggage too.
Right, and you mentioned Cody Allen. I just want to bring up that Cleveland Indians roster, they're going to lose like
10. Andrew Miller's not staying on that team.
They're losing like 10 to 12 people from that 25-man roster, or 40-man roster, whatever.
They got Brad Hand, though.
Right. Right. So basically, I hate to spin this back because we finished talking about the White Sox, but if you're looking at an Indians team that's basically going to rebuild outside of Ramirez and Lindor, and they're going to have not much else, the White Sox are going to run this division.
That division sucks.
And they could run this division next year if they get Machado and or Harper.
Cleveland's going to be a bottom feeder very soon. They're going to lose. Like that team's going
Detroit's
Detroit's already a bottom feeder.
Already are.
Kansas City
Minnesota has overachieved and then just sucked.
They should be better next year.
Well,
They should be.
Maybe. But point is, back to the White Sox just for a brief moment, you get one or both those guys, you can run that division as soon as next year.
Unless you're hindered by bad manager, just got an extension.
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I think the rotation's set. They're not going to touch it mainly because you can't put any more money into it. You've also got Tyler Chatwood as a sixth option. I mean, he's going to be on the.
You don't have spots for it either. I mean,
Right.
just because they have money tied into it and no spots doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily a great rotation. But
I mean, it was a good rotation. Without.
I think it was a good rotation, but you just got. You can't. I don't know how long. I'm waiting to see how long you could bank on John Lester because he was having some really bad peripherals last year.
Every year, people say that John Lester's going to tail off, and
His peripherals were not good last year. We talked about
his FIP was really, really far away from his ERA, and
which is not a good thing.
He did come down to earth a little in the second half, but he got the job done.
Right.
He just continues to get the job done.
Yeah, but he had another 200 innings thrown on that arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Hugh and Hendricks will head up that staff,
which is fine. And Hamels will be a damn good 3, and if you want to call Lester a 4, a damn good 4. And then you've got Darvish. He's a huge question mark. But then you've got guys like Montgomery who can step in, spot start. He's proven he can do that. I just think you have to absolutely address depth in the bullpen. You need as many arms as you possibly can because that's been the downfall. I mean, you haven't had a closer since Aroldis Chapman in 2016. Wade Davis in 2017. Last year they went with Morrow. It didn't work. Strope was okay, but Strope's like a perfect 8th inning guy, I think. I don't think I want him as the closer.
Right.
Edwards, a 7th inning guy where there's less pressure on that soft motherfucker. Honestly, I mean, that'd be good if you can get a closer and then depth, period.
So 2 things I want to ask you about, just since we're talking about the Cubs. Is Joe Madden the manager in 2020?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then you said that the downfall last year was the bullpen. I would argue their offense
didn't show, but I think towards the end of the season more.
I mean, that offense, you can't do much about it because who are you going to upgrade from Javi Baez, Kris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, and Kyle Schwarber?
Javi Baez had the year of his life last year.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about the fact that he might be due for some regression, but you're basically, and I'm not trying to make this as a joke, but the Cubs might bring back Addison Russell.
No, I think they will.
But beyond that, what are you doing to fix that offense?
I mean, the offense is still good. I don't really have questions about they didn't hit in the playoffs. I get it.
Right.
I don't think that's sustainable.
In the playoffs, 1 game. They didn't hit in all of September, my guy.
Why you gotta bring that up? No, that game was frustrating.
I won't bring up anymore about how the Cubs had a 5-game lead on September 1st.
Yeah, I mean, they lost. The Brewers didn't win the division as much as the Cubs lost the division.
I think Christian Yelich just carried them.
And then he fell off the fucking face of the fucking earth in the
MVP.
playoffs, dog.
My
Where were you when it counted, dog? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Come see me, Christian. Come see me.
All right, what else?
Oh.
I see you have David Robertson on there as well.
Yeah, I do. There's a lot of good relief pitching.
Yeah, but and we talk about how volatile relief pitching is. Just hopefully, they'll figure something out.
Games.
Oh wow! All right.
Snuck that in there. And then just one more thing I want to talk about. Just an article I saw. We talked about it before we started the cast here. Merrifield from Kansas City. Whit Merrifield.
I'd love to get him out of the American League.
Russell and Ian Happ.
No. Who's taking a wife beater and...
Alleged.
No, he's a wife beater. We're basically taking a wife beater and Ian Happ, who doesn't really have a position.
So I don't watch any Kansas City Royal baseball, so
Unfortunately, I've had the displeasure of watching Kansas
I don't know.
City
I didn't know much about it. I'm just looking at his numbers. A guy who stole 45 bags last year could be useful for the Cubs, obviously.
A 367 OBP when he's never been an OBP guy before this.
Right, and he could be useful as a leadoff hitter from those numbers. Says he's a second baseman.
I don't think it happens though, just because Kansas City is firmly in a rebuild, and they're not trading for guys who don't have cost control. More than
getting rid of a guy who's going to be
years.
30 for Happ and Russell, I think.
The only way you do that is if you think they're both going to be superstars and they could put asses in the seats.
I mean, they're not going to. I don't think you, bank on them being superstars. I think you bank on them being good players who fit into a team where you draft well next couple. Because they're young players.
Yeah, but Russell's been around since 2015, right? So 15, 16, 17, 18, he's 4 years in, right? Mm-hmm. So he has, depending on when they brought him up, was he a midseason call-up? Because if so, he has 3 years of value left.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah. And then Ian Happ they brought up in 16 or 17?
17.
17. So he would have 4 years left of value.
So Russell has 2.1 years.
Accrued?
Yes.
So then he would have 4 years left, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he has 4 years left, and I'm guessing Hap would have 5 then by
Yes.
that kind of transitive property
Right.
there. So essentially what you got is guys you don't have what is it called? The major league starting clock for your prospect status. You don't have control over those guys. So basically you're just hoping that they step in, become this great, double play combo at second where they both rake and all this stuff, And Addison Russell's past plays into it, but I think just even if he wasn't what he is, then it would still be an issue.
I mean, I just don't see why Kansas City wouldn't do it.
I see why they wouldn't do it.
I mean, you have control of Merrifield, I'm seeing here, until 2022, but he's going to be 33. Like, just based off the plan that we want to rebuild, we want to be younger, here's two guys who have a higher ceiling than this guy. Maybe a lower floor. Why would you not take this risk?
Because there are other teams who have stacked farm systems who could
that you're going to trade him for.
They can get a top 100 prospect for Whit Merrifield, maybe.
And you think a top 100 prospect is a better option than Ian Happ?
I think for a guy who you don't have the service time control over, potentially, yes.
Okay, I'm going to disagree, but that's all we got. Mm-hmm. That's all we got for the show. Mom's Basement on Twitter at Mom's Basement 18. I'm Joe, as always, on Twitter at Joe_Frank01. Corey on Twitter at Corey L Diablo.
Gotta fix this mic.
That was I'm sorry. I had it. You broke it.
I fucked it up.
You did fuck it up.
I admit it.
That was a lot to go over today. But it was a good podcast.
Way to break it back in again.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, leave that 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next time.